All right, all right, all right. Happy Monday, everybody. It is June 22nd. Can you believe that we are in our final push to the end of our seminar year? I cannot believe it is
I
almost
can't believe it
here.
either.
So it's just crazy town. But I'm here with Terry. I'm here with Trish, and I know other people are going to be hopping on throughout our broadcast, or they might watch the recording, and that's totally great too. So, without further ado, I wanted to hit a couple things that I think are really, really important in relation to this lovely month that we are in. And the first thing is going to be talking about the Glowing Skin Growing Sales June skincare promotion. We want to talk about this because this has always been the caveat of while supplies last.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a couple of products that are no longer available in the
No,
60% off arsenal. So I
no.
want to make sure I want to make sure that I share this so everybody has the information. It was in the news on In Touch here. So here's where we are. And don't you walk away from me, news. I just had it. There
I
it is.
just
Okay.
watched that news this morning. I mean, I looked for the news this morning, but I didn't see that.
Okay, here we go. They have sold through their supply of the HA plus ceramide and are running low on the Clinical Solutions C plus resveratrol line reducer and the time-wise replenishing serum C plus E. So the
Oh,
HA is out. Now that doesn't mean you can't order it. You're just not going to get the 60% off.
gotcha.
Okay. So so they're not completely sold out, but when they do these kinds of promotions, they earmark a quantity of what they will use at that price point. And so that's where they are. And I love that they're making sure to update us so that we're not just completely
Yes.
blindsided there. And here's an FYI, we will be going back to peanut packaging.
I did see that one.
That was an email that came through, which made me very happy, that I wanted to make sure I shared. And because, we were kind of the pilot program to that accordion-esque product there. And I don't think it was bad. I think if you had a ton of product, it was probably, the boxes were probably getting mangled a little bit. And the other one is I wanted to make sure you guys were aware of the phone call scams that were going out. And I know they sent a letter out, but just be aware that they will never reach out to you or send you a code via a text message.
Right.
Okay. So if you were to get a phone call from corporate, it would not be it would be identifiable as a Texas number and that kind of thing. But never give them that kind of stuff over the phone. We had people that immediately their passwords were locked out because they were being trusting because they thought it was a customer service rep and that's what had happened. So just they will never uh, they will never do that kind of thing with you. It's like that extra security mechanism is in place. So just make sure that you, I would always say, hang up and call, the customer service line and talk to someone and ask if they've reached out. I think that's always the better way to go. But yeah, what happens is there's a fraudulent person that sends a text message with a code to the Salesforce member. The Salesforce member gives them the code, and then they're locked out of their InTouch account. And I don't understand to what end, but that's not for me to.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't understand what benefit that is to anyone, but that's okay. So just be aware. It's kind of that whole antennas up all the time for just the yucky people that are out there. So be aware. The end. Okay, so we want to talk about getting out a keynote. We want to talk about our week 2 of all the awesomeness that we have, and it's the success trail. It's like the Oregon Trail, only less messy. So let's get in there. Let's get in there and see what we got. Okay, So we have our success trail this week, and it is about mapping your time, which I think is very important for everybody, regardless of what it is that they do outside of Mary Kay or in addition to Mary Kay or, around Mary Kay. I think it's really great. So time management works best when it focuses less on being busy and more on being intentional with your planning and being consistent. I love that. It's not about being busy. Do you ever feel like you're really busy and then somebody asks you what you got done today and you're like, and you can't figure out what you've done that had anything to do with your business? I mean, it happens. It happens. And so, and you're not alone. So let's look at this. Which statement sounds most like you? And you can't say all. Well, maybe you can. Letter A, I don't have enough time. B, I get distracted. C, I start a lot of things, but don't finish them. D, I feel busy all day, but just don't get much done.
B.
B, okay. Yeah.
If I could only pick one, I would probably say B as well.
Yeah, I think B, but I think we could probably pick a lot of them. I think
yes, many.
I feel like B and C kind of go hand in hand. In a lot of ways, but I love the spoiler alert. Time management isn't really about time. It's about priorities. And so when we're coming up with like that goal setting piece that we were talking about with our emotional management last week, that 7-day challenge, and coming up what it is that we want for this upcoming, what's our win for the end of this seminar year? What's the jump start into the next seminar year? This piece, I think, is going to be really powerful, being able to manage that time. So managing your time leads to less stress, more flexibility. Terry, we were just talking about this, more consistency, better results, and more family time. The goal isn't to squeeze Mary Kay into every spare minute. The goal is to intentionally create space for your goals. It's kind of the, when you're at at a retail store and they'll say, the store's open, or, I'll be back in 15, it's that kind of thing, being able to actually turn your brain off from your Mary Kay so that you can be present in what other things you're doing. And then when Mary Kay's on, to be very fully present in your Mary Kay. So I think that's pretty great. So you are the CEO of your business, my friends. There's no boss coming. No one is assigning your tasks. And there's no clock to start and stop. The freedom of Mary Kay is wonderful, but it also represents self-leadership. I always feel like it's the best part about your job and the worst part about your job. So let's talk about building your dream week. You're going to create a dream week master copy. Weekly plan sheets, I think I've given lots of them out in the last millennium here. So you can pull it up. There's just a generic one on InTouch. Plus there's other ones that you can pull up that I've emailed or what have you throughout the months and weeks. So you're going to start with your priorities. Okay. Whether it's God first, family second, career third, get those all filled in. And then we all have that same 24 hours. I remember doing that math problem that was so great. It was here's the number of days or number of hours in a day or hours in a week. Now let's subtract this part. Let's subtract this part. Let's subtract this part. And then it basically comes down to how many hours would you have to work your Mary Kay? And so I think it's kind of cool. So what one person gets done with one person goes with the flow and one person creates a weekly time budget. We have that same 24 hours, but what's going to happen is the person who creates the time budget is going to get a whole lot more done than the one that just goes with the flow. You're going to be in the moment, which we just talked about, when you are with your family. Focus on your family and don't work on your business during that time. When you're working your Mary Kay business, focus on it and give it your all. Think of the weekly plan sheet as a chest of drawers. You can't have all the drawers open at the same time, or there'll be chaos, or it'll just make a mess. And then this, I think, is really fun because it's your consultant daily mindset, daily worksheet, daily mindset worksheet. It's going to fit in. You've got all the little nooks and crannies here where you can figure out what's going to get done, what needs to get done, and be able to check those things off the list. You're going to fill it out every night so you know what needs to happen the next day. It's kind of like the 6 most important list in a little bit wider, more specific version. And if you wait until morning, distractions happen, emergencies happen, priorities get shifted, and pivots happen, and you get derailed. And so if you can kind of just stick to the plan, then that's a really great thing. What usually steals your time? Scrolling through social media, procrastination, waiting until you're motivated, overthinking, saying yes to everything, lack of planning, and distractions. Most people don't have a time problem. They have a priority problem. Priority problem. I love it when cursive words make it hard for me to read. And I know how to read cursive, you guys. It's true. So just keeping in mind, these are all very common and lots of people go through it. Okay. So don't ever feel like it's, somebody's pointing their finger at you, because guaranteed if somebody's pointing their finger at you, they've got a whole bunch of fingers pointing back at themselves. So we've all been through it. We've all go through it. It's all cyclical, and it's all just a decision to shift, right? And so for the next 7 days, you're going to fill out a daily worksheet every night. You're going to put your weekly plan sheet somewhere that your family can see it. And you're going to track how you spend your time and compare it to your Dream Week master copy. Okay, so you're going to create that master copy of what a dream week would look like. Okay, so it's a little more specific this time around than what last week was, where you picked one thing to focus on. This is where you're basically going to dust off the cobwebs and go, okay, this is starting anew. We're kind of getting things in place for these next 7 days, the last week of the seminar year, so that we've got a pattern in place so that we can go ahead and crank it out to start the new seminar year. Because we always say that June is not really June and July is not really July. It's June, July, August. That those 3 months are so, so important there. So out of all of that stuff that we just talked about, what reminder jolted in your brain? What spoke to you? What little nuggets of good came out of there?
Sorry. I was also joking. I think it comes down to starting the basics and doing the dream week.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. I think that's really smart. And I think, like, if your goal is, let's say, a star consultant, okay, because Terry shared that that's one of her goals, is to be a 4-quarter star. So there's a level of activity involved, a level of sales involved, and that weekly, okay, how am I going to construct my week so that the numbers play out to be able to reach that goal? And I remember, Rebecca had trained me and on this, and Trish, you've done all the training on this stuff too, that, customarily it's that idea of $300 in sales weekly will get you to that sapphire star level. And how do you get to that? How do you get that $300 in sales each week? Well, it can be any combination of anything. But if you were to think in terms of, I'm going to have a party a week, or 2 parties a week, 2 appointments, they don't even have to be parties, 2 appointments a week or 2 faces a week, that's going to get the ball rolling. And then what happens when you got follow-up appointments scheduled and then you get reorders, that's just gravy. Right? Today, I did an appointment with one of the gals from my Teacher Appreciation Week. And it was really fun because she we were very transparent about what she uses for her skincare. And at this point, it was nothing. It was water. And so we talked about, it's time, because she's over 50. And so we did the Lux facial, and she loved the products. But I said to her, it seems to me this would be too many pieces to go from doing nothing to something. And so what she said, what would you recommend? And I said, honestly, I would do a cleanser and a moisturizer from the Miracle Set, which is going down from top shelf. It's going down a level. I said, but you're still going to get age fighting. You're still going to get hydration. I said, and then if you want to kick up the notch on exfoliants and that kind of thing, or you want to be able to pull out some blackheads, then I would say a charcoal mask and you'd be good to go. And I think that conversation is going to guarantee her as a customer for life, you guys, because I didn't sit there and try to push a repair set on her. I said, this is what we did today, but I think just in what we've talked about, this would be your jam. And I said, and if you want to add pieces later, great. And she's a bronze skin tone, very deep skin tone. And so she already was telling me she didn't want to do retinol. Okay, great. Well, that means night cream's out. It's like, okay, check that off. But I thought that was really cool to think about it. But still, it was $100 sale. $100 face. I can't hear you, Trish. It says your mic's on.
See, that's what happened to me.
It is what happened to Terry. I don't know. Didn't I hear you for a minute before? I did. Okay. No, you didn't hear. We didn't hear Trish, really?
No, we did.
We did. Okay. Now I'm going to unmute her. Now talk again, Trish. Okay. Maybe pop out and come back. Okay. It is what she had to do. But that idea of $300 in sales, because we'll know July 1st if any modifications are coming, because I don't know anything as far as anything coming, but I do know the company is really focusing more on retail numbers versus wholesale numbers, because I feel like there was always that time that we had to remind everybody when we say, how big does the order need to be when we're trying to do an activating order, or when we're working on quarter sales. Well, what is that in wholesale? Well, it's not about wholesale. It's your retail number that matters for quarter sales. And it's when we talk about Unit Club, I think I hear her, it's your retail numbers. So I don't know if that's going to be a change that the Star Consultant program does, but for now, we're going to base it on what it's always been, which is the wholesale amount. And so $300 in sales means that over the course of the month, you're selling $1,200, which means $600 goes into product purchase and $600 goes in your pocket, right? And from that profit, that's when you determine what's going to come out of there. But Trish, what were you going to say, hon? Because I'm so sad. You were all a wealth of information ready to go, and then I couldn't hear you because technology. Oh my God, it's happening again. I heard you, and then it was gone.
Technology.
She'll come back. Maybe she'll come back on her phone.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's the piece that we want to make sure that we carve in. And we had a really great training this morning, and that's why I wanted Trish to talk about it, because did you see the golfer who won the U.S. Open? Well, he won 3 years ago too, and he's a Mary Kay son. His mom was a national sales director, and she had passed away. And he made a point of talking about how she was such a big influence. Trish, can we hear you now? Yes. What did you do?
You know what? Sometimes when I have my meeting out, if my phone is too close, it beeps like I use my phone for something. And it beeps, it makes this little beep. But I thought if I hit disconnect, I would leave the whole thing. But no, it just disconnects it from that. That's probably what happened, because it makes
That's totally what happened.
Mm-hmm.
There
Sorry,
it
so
is.
I
Okay.
don't even know what we're talking about.
No, we were talking about Star Consultant and goals and retail and just what that looks like and how you're going to break it down. And $100 facial. It's basically the average face is $100.
Yeah.
And it really
Yes.
holds true to that. Sometimes it's a little different. Sometimes somebody spends $400, sometimes somebody spends 50,
Yeah,
but the numbers play out. Yeah. So
I just love how we get a choice. Like we can do it all at once. Like, back in the day when we had other jobs, Dan, you and I, we both worked differently because we had to. Now we get to choose how we work a little bit more. But I remember I loved, and even when we first met, I loved working on Saturdays. Like
me too.
when I first started, that's the only time I worked my Mary Kay business was on Saturdays. And everybody I would talk to during the week, I'm like, can you come by on Saturday? Can you come by on Saturday? Why don't you come by and bring a friend on Saturday? And some Saturdays I wouldn't see anybody, and some I'd see 6 or 8 or 10. And I only did it in the morning so that I didn't give up my whole entire Saturday. But I'm telling you, I earned my first car that way. Like I'm thinking I need to go back to that focused work and just say, well, this is what I have available. But I just love that we can do one at a time, or we can do everybody at one time. I love that we can do the pass around. I love that we can do online. I mean, we just have so many choices, and maybe that's a challenge for some of us, is that we have too many choices right now.
I think that is the problem. I think we have to pick what it is that we're going to do. Terry was talking about like her goal, like with her social media focus, because we were talking about, there's all the platforms, right? And so a confused mind does nothing, or we get overwhelmed and try to do everything, and we're not doing everything at a high level. And when you're thinking about the age group that we want to be appealing to right now, Instagram and TikTok is where it's at. So Terry was talking about her focus shifting over to more of an Instagram and less of a Facebook.
Yeah.
Which I think is really smart. I think it's really smart. And so that kind of segues around just our training that we had this morning from Diana Sumter about the power of our affirmations, our head speak, like what we're saying to ourselves. And I was just telling Terry that the guy who won the US Open won 3 years ago, and he's a Mary Kay son. Yeah.
Mary Kay kid.
And Mary Kay kid. And just what a great story he has. And he talks about his mama and just the power of what an affirmation. And it doesn't have to be, 8 pages long. It can be very simple, but it needs to be, what Holly Lowe told her son was that it needs to be where you need, because it's her son, you need to have it posted where you pee and posted where you poop. So it's, on one door where he sits down and one, on the wall where he's standing up to go potty. So, but I think what I love about it is that, why do we have affirmations? It's going to help build self-confidence by reinforcing positive beliefs about your own abilities. And I think that's really, really important that we have, that we acknowledge that what we have in our own ability arsenal, right? Keeping the goals at the top of your mind so that you stay focused on what you're working toward. Encouraging persistence when facing rejection, setbacks, or slow progress. And I think that one's the big one, encouraging persistence. It's also going to create positive attitudes that can then influence, and it's going to, the ripple effect of that positive attraction that we have, right? And it's also going to strengthen your belief in success. So it's also mood shifting, and the number of times during the day, like I know for me, when I was in DIQ, I had an affirmation that I said morning, afternoon, and night, 3 times a day. Holly Lowe has one that she does 10 times a day. Is that right?
Julia, maybe that was Julia.
No, it's Julia. Yeah, every hour it goes off. Like she has a timer that goes off. And so she was in the middle of her meeting and stopped everything and read her affirmation, which I thought was just so cool. So what we want to be able to do is construct something that, I'm working towards, the power words that you can say over and over again and not end the sentence with, yeah, right.
think that's
Right.
a challenge sometimes, Dan, because we're very logical, right? Like
Oh yeah.
3 people on this call are very logical, and maybe you are if you're watching replay. So you think, I know what I want. I don't need to do that. I don't need to do
But
that.
we need to.
But we need to. And there's been times in my life where, and I will say, when she was talking about that this morning, I just felt the stab in my heart because I know
Yep.
that I've slacked in that area for my business, not for my
Mhm.
personal life, because I just seem to be more consistent there. But I even my kids know about it, but I'll even say, and what do we know? What do we know that's true? And my kids know that our like one of our biggest affirmations is everywhere we go, people are nice to us. Everywhere I go, people, and I'm not kidding you, Terry. And Danny can
No, it's
attest to this.
true.
Everywhere we go, people are nice to us, like overly nice, like
Hmm.
overly nice. And so that one is embedded. So my challenge to myself is I need to get that for my business. And so we just have to pretend like we work for somebody else. And this is part of what we have to do. Because if we're leaving it up to our own brains, feeling logical, and we don't need to do that, we know what it takes to do an appointment, blah, blah, blah. We will never do it. Kind of like a goal poster. We know what it takes to be, because we know it takes $1,200 a month in sales to be a Sapphire Star. Fine. We don't need a goal post about it. Well, yes, we do. Yes, we do. We don't need an affirmation about it. Yes, we do. I saw that happen in my mom's life, and she only did it in one area because maybe that was her belief level, but she always had a great parking. And as soon as we'd be on our way, she's like, "Well, I can't wait to see what great parking I'm going to get." I always get great parkings. Like, and she did. I'm not kidding. So it's whatever we talk about, we bring about, but the affirmation is doing it many times when we don't feel it so that our brains can start to believe it. Because our brain doesn't know the truth from a lie. It knows whatever we tell it. So
It's right. So I just posted my affirmation.
where?
It put it in the chat.
Oh, in the chat. Okay. Let me
Yeah, but it's
oh, I
kind
see
of
it up
hard.
there blinking.
It's kind of hard to read. I have to get up close, and it's really hard to read because my eyes are bad.
Confidential.
Yeah, I am Danny McCracken, a confident and influential sales director. Every day, I attract ambitious, coachable women who are excited to build their businesses and achieve their dreams. My unit is growing with strength, unity, and purpose. I lead with excellence, integrity, and belief. New team members, future leaders, and dedicated consultants are consistently joining my organization. I empower women to recognize their values, step into leadership, and create success beyond what they imagined possible. My unit is thriving at Cadillac status, built on a foundation of production, consistency, recognition, and love. We celebrate victories, overcome challenges, and achieve our goals together. The vision of driving a Cadillac, it's not just possible, it is our reality. I am creating a dynamic national area filled with strong leaders who duplicate success, inspire others, and build lasting legacies. Abundance flows to my business, my team, and my family. Doors open, opportunities multiply, and God blesses the work of my hands. I am grateful, expectant, and unstoppable. My future national area is growing now. My Cadillac is soon to be earned, and my leadership is making a powerful impact. Every day, in every way, I am becoming the leader I am called to be.
That was awesome.
There you go. But when I have it in bigger font, I could read it faster.
Yeah,
And
I
the
can only
idea,
see through. I didn't see like the last paragraph, but I love it, Dan. And are we going to give everybody the 7-Up challenge?
yes, I think we need to. So tell Terry what the 7-Up challenge is, because I think it's really easy.
7 things a day. So it's kind of like, the person we learned this from this morning held up a bottle of 7-Up. I have a Sprite, but it doesn't work quite the same.
Right.
7-Up challenge. 7 I am statements that you write down and you repeat them. How many times a day, Dan? 7 times a day would make sense for 7-Up?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and they all have to be I am, as if you're already there doing it, breathing it, smelling it, living it. Because again, your brain does not know the difference. It just says, oh, you're saying that you're a star consultant every quarter. Okay, great. Let's get on it. Like, here's what you can do. Or here's, it's so crazy, amazing. And it's very scientific to how it works. It is not, some crazy hoo-ha stuff. It's actual science. So 7 I am statements, 7 times a
Mhm.
day. That's the 7-Up challenge. And I know Danny and I are going to take it, and I hope you do too, Terry, with us,
Yep.
because we'll just have to report
Yeah.
back of what happens. When I used to say, and I think I have it still in the back of my brain because I've said it so many times in the past, is, today's the day I'm meeting amazing women who are emotionally ready, financially ready, and leadership ready. And I'm not remembering exactly, to one with me. It was something like that. I need to write it down again, but talk about people being ready right now. That's the kind of people I want to work with, who are emotionally mature. That was it. Emotionally mature, financially mature, who love being on a team. Because as women, as a team, we can rock anything, right?
Yep.
That's what
true.
makes us better than boys. I hate to say it's because we understand and value the power of teamwork, and they don't.
Oh yeah.
Because if they were good at teamwork, they wouldn't do stupid stunts that land up on videos and they break their legs and things.
It's
Girls,
true.
but other girls do things like that. And that was not what my son-in-law was doing. Oh my gosh.
Is he doing okay?
He's doing so good. I'm like blown away. I mean, he's in a little pain, but not bad. I mean,
That's good.
It was only a week ago, and it was so crazy how fast it all was and how he got home. And I didn't think he would even be able to travel to get him. So it's good. And they finally
That's so
got into
great.
an ortho because that was nobody wanted to see him here because they didn't do the surgery. So it took many calls for Amy, but she learned from her Mary Kay business about persistence, pleasantly persistent. And sometimes
love
you just
that.
have to make more calls and ask the questions. So
That's
it's
right.
all good. What we all learn in our business really does carry us through.
I love it. I love it. So we've got a little bit of time management challenge, and we've got a little bit of affirmation 7-Up challenge. And that's what we get to do this last week.
Is that why teachers had us write things like, I will not, something 1,000 times when you got in trouble?
I think so. I think so. I think
This
that
is going
makes
to be a
sense to
powerful
me.
week, Jen. This is going to be a
I think
powerful
so.
week for all of us.
I think it is, because I really think, it's the power of one.
Mhm.
It's just, what is something that you can, each day that you can check off and go, wow, that's more than I have done.
Mhm.
Or hey, that's moving me closer to my goal. And I think it's just so powerful what we have the ability to do, especially, at this time of the year. And, we have that flexibility to move mountains
Yes.
this week, especially. So I challenge you all to go out there and have a gazillion-dollar week.
And one last question, Dan. We want to know
Yeah.
how you're doing on your goal for quarter sales, because we're doing it with you. We're not doing it ourselves because we're doing it with you. We want to.
It's not. We're not. I'm not done. I'm not done.
All right.
But it's gonna be. I think I'm down to 20, just under 2. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's cranking along. Just under 2,000 retail.
Okay, you'll
So
get there.
it's getting there. It's getting
Okay.
there. This
All right. Just wanted
done.
to check in.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks, you guys.
You're welcome.
All right. Have $1 million week, you guys. Love you.
You too.
All right. See ya.
Bye, guys.